Welcome to the Making Money in the Music Business podcast, where we share insightful views on a variety of topics in the music industry that can help you make more money from your music business. And now, here are your hosts, Dr. William E. Smith and Kenya McGuire Johnson.
Hey, Kenya, we are back.
We are back. We are back with another
true vocalist going to sing it.
I know. I always sing the intro. I always do that it's a habit.
Yeah. you should come up with a song for the intro, little jingle.
You know what? I don't know why Yes. That's true.
That's your wheelhouse.
Podcast. Like, yeah.
You know what I mean? So
you have the music. I need to sing.
There we go.
You're right. All right. So we'll do that for next season. Maybe. Okay.
Making money in the music. No, let me stop.
Oh, look at you. You already, you're ready. Let's go. All right. So I'll think about it. I need some time, but yeah, we're back. And we have a really fun guest. Before we pushed record and before Dr. Smith came in the room, he and I have talked on the phone, but we've never really been able to exchange in person or video. So this is going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm
incredibly talented guest. Yeah, we have a really talented guest. But before we go there, Dr. Smith.
Music tip.
Yes.
Got a fun one today for all you producers. And that's why I saved it for this episode, because we got another producer coming on. So this is an interesting vocal virtual instrument. It's called Alter Ego. There's actually two, and I'm sure producers have probably heard about it. But it's called Alter Ego. You can type in a phrase, and when you play the notes on the keyboard, it will sing those words. And it is it's very computerized. So it's like a computer, almost like auto-tune type of voice.
Yeah, I was going to say, it should sound quite auto-tuney. It's
auto-tuney. They have like different voices, males, female, whatever. So it's actually pretty cool, though. You can add vibrato. You can make it legato, staccato. It's pretty cool. I showed it to my class. Kids were freaking out.
I'm like, I'm biased because now everybody going to make a song, or they are making their songs.
Oh, they're already making songs. They've already been
purely
hit
alter
off
ego.
of this thing.
I know.
But the other tip is like a double tip today. The other thing on the other side of that is another program called Vocaloid. And if you can buy it, I think it's like $200 some, and you can create your own vocal virtual instrument with your voice.
With your voice.
With your voice. So you can
that's better.
Create. There you go. I knew you would appreciate that. So you could put your voice as a virtual instrument, and it takes some setting up because you got to create all the nuances of your voice and sort of program it. But you can create your own virtual instrument of your voice. And if you don't feel like singing today, just play the notes in.
Just suck it out on a keyboard. What is you said is Vocaloid?
Vocaloid, L-O-I-D. Yeah,
Vocaloid. Vocaloid. Okay.
Yep. So two vocal virtual instruments tips for y'all today.
More ways to make singers lazy. No, I'm just playing. But no. That I think that would be good for like demoing stuff and for yeah. Okay. Thank you. I'm going to let you introduce our guest today.
Okay. Well, this illustrious guest we have coming with us today is a buddy of mine. Not just my line brother, but he's a good buddy of mine. He's also a music fraternity line brother. And he has done some amazing things in music, continues to do amazing things in music. And just an all-around good guy, just the nicest cat in the room. You know what I mean? One of those type of dudes, always smiling, makes you laugh, that type of guy. So, he's graced us with his presence this morning, introducing Wil Key.
Thank you, sir.
Hey. Yes.
Welcome.
We have two Wils today. Yes. So we're going to say Wil Key.
And where there's a will, there's a way.
Okay. Anyway, that was cheesy.
Yes, it was.
No, welcome, Wil. I'm so Yeah, it's really good to have you on our podcast, and I've wanted to have you on for a while now. And it's we go through our files and like, oh, we gotta, and I'm like, okay, I've got to pitch now. So I'm so glad we were able to figure this out because I know we had to arrange our schedules a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So glad to be here. Thanks.
Absolutely. And you're in LA, so I know time. Actually, you have a little bit more time. It's 10.
10. Yeah, he's awake now.
As we're recording.
You should be awake.
Maybe not. But if you could just maybe introduce to our audience, some people may not be familiar with you, just how you would label yourself as an artist, what you do. Yeah. And then we allow our artists to tell their story a little bit. Just give us a synopsis of your background and how you got to where you are.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, currently, I am doing my 5th solo album. So we just finished recording that. That's coming out on the 28th, and I'm excited about that. But sonically and musically lately, I've been all about kind of getting back to organic instruments, getting back to like playing real instruments instead of samples and things like this. Really focused on the vocal, focused on the soulfulness of the song. I'm into that kind of thing. I'm doing kind of a mix of jazz, R&B type of sounds, and that's kind of been my school for at least the last couple of albums. So it's kind of like a throwback, but with some new pieces, some new exciting, things mixed in. But I started out as just a straight up musician. Like before I started writing, before I, started getting into the studio side of things, I was just playing, bands and doing that kind of thing. And then I got into studio production, which kind of got me interested in writing, and then I kind of fused my production studio chops with my writing, and that's kind of how my artistry was born.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Go back a little further.
Yeah.
To the pre-Howard days.
Okay.
The interest in music. How did that get started?
So the thing with that, I come from a whole family of musicians. Right. So my grandfather played, my mother played, my great grandmother played. She was actually the first. Yeah. So long line of musicians. She was actually the first professor at Kentucky State of music. So it goes way back.
Wow.
Like way
wow.
back. Yeah. And my grandfather actually played with Cab Calloway and, back in the day. And they used to actually have, they were kind of the house, like when you came through Kentucky, Lena Horne, what's the boxer's name? The older school musicians.
Jack Johnson.
Yeah. They used to come, not Jack Johnson, it was another one, Joe Lewis.
Joe Lewis. Yeah, Joe Lewis.
And used to come through, and that was the house to stay because a lot of places on the road would not let African Americans stay. So my grandfather's house was one of the places. So yeah, a long line of musicians. Watched my mother play, watched my grandfather play. I had no choice. Now, I was never forced, you know what I mean? I was never forced, which is cool, but there's no way I wasn't going to be a musician. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when you say play, primary instrument is piano, just for people.
That was my first instrument. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you play other instruments? And if so, okay. Yeah. If you could share with us and how that even came about.
So definitely started on piano, like even from a little guy. And then as I got into school, playing in school bands, I started messing with the flute a little bit, lost my flute and had to get on drums, right? So, the only instrument
you lost your
It's so small,
Oh my God.
So I lost my flute, had to get on drums and found out I was pretty good on drums. So I played drums all through school. I could play drums. I picked up the bass a little bit and also guitar, which I actually lately I've actually been playing more guitar seems like than piano. Just seems like the way it's flowing.
Yeah, my vision of you is on guitar. That's just the picture I have of you.
Yeah.
Man. So talk to us about the Howard days.
Oh, and my God.
I'll HU, we have another HU family on. Yes.
Oh, yeah. HU. Everything about Howard, man. Everything about Howard. Absolutely love those times. It was just a magic time. I mean, we were there. I guess when everybody goes, they feel like their time was magic. But I really, you know what I mean? But I really feel like that time we were there was magic, man. So many, great players. Chris Day was there. Like just that moment
the line brother Raymond. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Raymond Angry.
Like just incredible time to be at Howard. And then I was blessed enough to be on sound, because the other thing that I do is audio, like mixing and engineering. I was blessed while I was at Howard the whole time. I was able to do mixing for the live shows over at Crampton Auditorium. So that was a whole, like training ground of like different, different theater shows coming through, musicians coming through, having to adjust. It was just an incredible time to learn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, so, I mean, this is because it's funny. I think people, when they come from families who are musicians, it's just very natural. It's very fluid. It's like, I play the bass, I play the guitar, I play drums. I just do it. It's like, what? Those of us who don't necessarily, I think that speaks, a lot of volumes to gifts and so forth. Have you always, once you got to Howard and so forth, was it always like music? That's it. That's all I want to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like, for as long as I can remember. Nothing else sparks me up like that. There's nothing else that gives me that, that joy. It's an absolute calling like that. There's nothing else I want to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then I have a follow-up question to that then, because, the music industry is not for the faint at heart.
No. That was said politely.
So this is a common question we ask our guests. So once you left, the safety net of Howard and how did you begin your career where you actually could make an income? So the initial thing was to go to the audio, because I was kind of, like I said, I was doing the Crampton thing. So the audio was kind of paying me already. So I really went and opened up a recording studio. And I started recording local artists, and I started mixing and, doing that kind of thing, pretty much working the audio side of things until I met enough serious artists that I started to be able to kind of write for them or either produce for them. And then I started kind of inserting my own, songs. And then I was like, I really want to do this more than more than I want to like just be stuck behind the board. So I transitioned to doing that. And that was a process, it took some doing. It took some, some knocks and pings. Knocks and pings for real.
Get that for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. So when you started your own studio, I think some people who are interested in doing that, they would like to know some of those details. How did you get started with that, and how did you initially get the funding to get all the gear? Right. And then when you set it up, how did you set that up, and did you have security, all that other stuff?
Oh yeah. Lots of creative things going on there. So what I did was, when I got my first commercial property, I went and rented a building at the Masonic Lodge. They had a small little side spot. My dad was actually a Mason. And so he had kind of an in with the
hookup,
hookup, and they gave me like
relationships. That's you tell people the relationships. Yep.
And so they had this dope little spot, just big enough for a control room and a vocal booth, just big enough to get it going. And I went into promotion mode. I literally went out passing out flyers. I was sticking them on cars. People were calling me mad for, like advertising. I'm trying to get the word out. Please go to my studio. I'm putting ads in newspapers. I remember this. And it's just enough business would come in, just enough to cover the rent that month. You know what I mean? Gotcha. And every little dime I got, I would reinvest back in the gear. So if I got a really nice session, somebody paid for, a couple of days in the studio, I would take all of that money, go out and buy some nicer speakers. And I just kept doing that. And pretty much for the first 2 or 3 years, I was breaking even, but I was getting gear.
Right.
And then the third year hit, and I did a project. It was like, I don't know if you guys remember Master P, the whole.
Yeah,
Master P.
Yeah, we know Master P.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Master P.
Yeah, Master P was hot, and I did a project that was really similar to that, and that had similar artwork or whatever for an artist, and it blew up. And from that, I learned that word of mouth is everything, because from that one project, you know what I'm saying? It took off. And then it really did well. So for a good stretch of years there, it was profitable. Yeah.
Good.
Nice.
Good.
Nice. Yeah. And you're based in LA, and that's another, it's not cheap to be in LA. Yeah.
No, not at all.
doing this. Yeah. Now that you're kind of, I guess maybe you can explain a little bit more currently, like when you look at your time and you look at engineering versus actually just doing your own project versus one of the things we're really trying to forecast or spotlight for artists right now, given everything going on, is the importance of different streams of income and of, not just doing one thing. Like you're going to have to. So maybe if you could kind of share with us, what are those different streams? What do you spend the majority of your time? How do you make this so that you can survive?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the music game, I think more than any other game, just requires, a diverse amount of things. You've got to diversify your portfolio. And one of the things that I do for sure is teach. So I teach a couple of music production courses at LA Film, which is really cool. And then I also do a church production where lately we've been doing a Zoom type of thing. I produce a video for them each week. And then in addition to that, I'm doing my own artistry, right? So I'm working on my, right? Now, the thing that works for me, and this might work for some other folk, is I use a time blocking, right? And I find this really helps. I say, listen, I got so many hours in a day. This is my time for producing or whatever I'm going to do. This is my teaching time. And it sounds simple, but it's very important for me to stick to my block, because I can get, because if I spend too much time on one block, the other pieces suffer, so to keep things moving forward and to feel like I'm getting a lot done, I block out the time and I try to stay strict to that. And the stricter I can stay, the better it is. I think it really works to have a dedicated time, for everything.
Right.
Yeah. Right. I was going to say.
I try to stick to my time blocks.
Yeah, I try.
But Lord, I get into zones, man, and I'll just be zoning in on one thing and like a pit bull, and then look up and I've just ate up another block. So you're probably way better at that than me. But I do the same thing. I actually have an Excel spreadsheet of what I need to be doing at certain times. And I feel you on that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, I'm a big time manager too. And I have kids. So, family life, which I'm going to get, I know you're married. So there's that other part of life. Will's married, you got to block out the appropriate time to live and be human. Yeah. But I really hope listeners understand that, cause social media kind of drives me a little, I always talk about this, how it drives me crazy, because I'm getting so many artists who want to just do one thing, or who, I just want to sing, I just want to play. And I'm like, this isn't the reality of what the music industry actually is. And so while you may see this artist on their IG doing one thing, I promise you, I promise you that there is multiple things. So I think with having your background in the engineering, it gives you a lot of room to do various things. And then the teaching, piece is really huge. Do you see yourself, and then I'll let you ask questions. Do you see yourself staying in these spaces, or do you actually have a different kind of space you're going toward?
I really do love teaching. So the teaching aspect, I really do think I'll keep a piece of that always, because I really love that. I love giving back. I love talking to the younger producers and staying connected with that, because it's more than just me teaching them. It's also keeps me abreast of everything that's new. Keeps me connected to what's happening. I always like their ideas. So I think I'll teach as long as I can. But I definitely, and as we're working on this new project, I'm moving into more of a live show space. I want to do more live shows and more performing, because I think I've neglected that a little bit. I've always been producing, always doing the studio thing, but I actually want to, I'm just kind of itching to get back on the stage a little bit more. So I think I will pick more up with that, and maybe some of the other things will die down a little bit more.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice.
Well, I got a couple fun questions.
Okay.
First one is, who are some of your favorite producers?
Ooh, producers. Man, the first person comes to mind is Rick Rubin, just because, see, Rick is what I call a transparent producer, meaning that, like, if you didn't know Rick produced the track, you might not know, because it's not like he's putting a stamp on it like a Timbaland, which I love. I love Timbaland too. But Timbaland, every beat he does, I know it's Timbaland.
Right.
Yep.
Whereas Rick really gets into the artist. And for me, like, when I'm producing the artist, that's what I like to do. I like to see what the artist is about. I'm not trying to put my stamp on it. I'm actually prefer to draw out what's good about them. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I really like, Rick Rubin. He's definitely one of my favorites. Like, dope. Just dope. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The second one is, who are some of your favorite musicians?
Oh my goodness. You know what? Like, that could go on so long. Yeah, all day. Let me try to get to the recent people. You know who really impressed me, like who really blew my mind, and a lot of people might not realize it. Hiatus Coyote, man.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they're on another sphere.
I really love that stuff. I just, it reached me in a new way. I guess for me, they were one of the artists that felt the most original to me over the last few years. It just has some organic thing that was really working for me. I
already know your other favorite musician.
You already know. You already know.
He's a diehard Prince fan. I already know that.
That's right. And I picked up on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
without question. Yeah, without question. Without question. Like, yeah, no
How
doubt.
can you not be, though? Like, I don't understand, especially as musicians.
Yeah. No, there are levels to Prince fans. Like, there are levels.
Right.
And he's on that other level. You know what I mean? Yeah. So.
I mean, I'm on a level. I'm definitely on a level when it comes to Prince. And we won't make the whole show about Prince, but I remember you played, on the piano, you did just a really quick thing. Was it his birthday? Maybe last year, or not his birthday, but it was either his birthday or his death.
Yeah, passing anniversary.
Prince.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, just so you know, we just got word that Jill Jones, you guys know Jill Jones? Jill Jones is one of this. She is actually going to be on this my new album.
Oh, wow.
Just got word 2 days ago.
Congratulations. Yeah. See, manifest energy, bring all that. Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, you got another question? You got, are there more musicians? Are there more musicians that?
Oh, so many, so many. I mean, I like as far as jazz pianists, I like a cat named, Brad Meldau, really, really nice, pianist. There's so many. There's another group out called Moonchild. I like what they're doing. You feel me? That kind of vibe. There's so many. Yeah, Moonchild
and Hiatus, they're in that same innovative. I think Hiatus they push the envelope even more. But Moonchild, and actually, attempting. I've been talking to Amber, who is the lead vocalist for Moonchild, to get on the podcast, because they are definitely dope. Really dope.
What's your DAW of choice?
Man, I check this out. My flow is Logic for creating, right?
Okay.
All my creating, and Pro Tools for the mix and edit. That's been my flow for years. I love the way Logic is set up for creative mode. Like when I'm in, just want to catch some, quick ideas. But when it's time to get serious and compress and mix and, do the engineering hat, Pro Tools.
Yeah, I'm a Reason dude all the way.
Reason, straight up?
I do everything in Reason. Everything.
Okay.
Everything.
Create,
mix, master, produce, everything.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it just makes sense to me. I don't know. I mean, I used to be on Cubase. And I've worked in Logic. I teach Logic at the school. I don't teach the Pro Tools class, but I have Pro Tools. I know how to work it. Yeah. But I don't know, man. It's just the mental flow of how with the racks, everything works for me. Okay. And it's quick, bam, boom, done. Yeah. And it's easy. So,
okay. Yeah. I don't hear too many people talk about Reason. So that's
they sleeping. They sleeping. Yeah. They just sleeping.
I was going to say the battle is always between Logic and Pro Tools. So that was a nice, you kind of balanced them both.
Yeah.
Of what, yeah.
What's your favorite VST?
Oh man, you know what?
Okay, so hold on a minute.
Uh-huh.
Well, some people
this is a production
don't know
interview
DAW. Don't know VST.
Okay, DAW is Digital Audio Workstation, and we already named the main ones.
Yes.
VST is a virtual studio instrument. Mm-hmm. And those are, so if you're not up on the terms or if you're not up on the software, Google it. And you'll get some knowledge and you'll start to learn some things.
Yes.
So what's your favorite VST?
Yeah. You know what ends up on most tracks, what I just love, seem to use on almost everything, is that Omnisphere, man. The Omnisphere. I've heard
a lot of people like
Omnisphere
that.
2.6 is dope. And I will co-sign on that Alter Ego, the Alter Ego you mentioned earlier. Dope. I already used it on a track on my last album, Summertime. Dope.
See?
Yeah,
okay, so he gave the... Yeah. All right, so that was good timing for us.
It's easy,
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah. Okay, we'll give you that. Those were fun questions. You're right; those were fun. So now I'm going to go back to the heavy.
Okay.
No, I mean we've been asking all our guests this. Obviously we're not going to ignore that we're in a pandemic. Right now, even though we're inching to some of a little bit of the other side of things, but. Two questions. First is just how did you cope during, this whole COVID, the past year? I'll start with that. Yeah.
Okay. So that was kind of actually easy creatively because I was in the middle of doing the album when the pandemic hit. We were actually in Rio, Brazil, when we got to the official word. You got to wear man. Like we almost didn't make it out of Brazil. Like we, we were almost stuck in, like that. And the album, you know what I'm saying? So we got out just in time, but I was already pretty much in creative mode, and I had done like 90% of the album. So it was kind of easy to then just kind of go into hibernation mode, go in the studio and start working. Like a lot of artists, I think a lot of artists just went into the, creative mode. And so that part was not too bad as far as like just being able to create and everything. And I think now, though, coming out of the pandemic, we're going to have a glut of people wanting to perform. I think we're going to have, it's going to be kind of saturated. So I think we're going to have to get creative with, maybe venues, maybe some non-traditional venues, maybe some different things because things are going to be so intense. I think we're going to have to,
I mean, you brought up a good point about things being saturated and people all like now, vying for, these spots or what have you. And also, a lot of venues didn't make it through the pandemic. So we have, the lesser traditional maybe kind of spaces. So I think you're right in saying, for musicians to start thinking about things in non-traditional spaces. One of the things that and maybe I can hear you guys' opinion on this. I was just tagged on one of the social media things about how hospitals, how musicians performing actually at hospitals is becoming or something that they want to start pushing more and getting
nurses and doctors. Yeah.
Well, because I think what people finally saw in this pandemic, obviously you saw the health side, the stress that hospitals, are under their employees, their staff, family, people who are there waiting on loved ones. And then you saw the relief that music provided, when people did these live streams or DJ Nice, D-Nice, all that kind of really showed how, so our, I don't know what you guys think about that in terms of that kind of setting or other settings that musicians maybe need to be thinking about that we haven't.
Yeah, I really like that. I'm open to that. I think that's a good, and others, house concerts, maybe doing some house concerts, that kind of thing.
Vaccinated people.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a supply and demand thing. I think you actually brought up some key points. The fact that a lot of key venues have closed is creating a big gap and a demand that's going to be a rush that the venues that did stay open, they're going to be making money like paper. They're going to be printing money because everybody wants to see live music.
Right.
And if your venue survived, people are going to be flooding your venue. Right. You're going to have sold out concerts for months.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even matter the artist.
Yeah.
Because people just want to come out and hear people.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think just, encouraging, and this is why it's so, important to be flexible and to be thinking outside of the box, at all times, because of the virtual space is not really moving. I think it's going to still always be an element. So I think musicians have an opportunity, when you have virtual conferences or people have virtual workshops or, be promoting, saying maybe you could be the music for their virtual, situation, or maybe you could be the soundtrack for, things. So just some things to think about in the post-COVID space. And especially you, because you said you're wanting to get back into more of the live.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I have another question, but I'm going to let Wil go.
Okay.
Wil.
I mean, I could turn this into a conversation because I hadn't talked to Wil in a long time.
I know.
It's been a whole lot. Like I asked him about his family, Well,
I was gonna ask about how you balance all that you're doing with your family life. Because I think this is, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and musicians' mental health, I think, is finally starting. We're starting to talk about that a bit more, other than just drug addicts. I mean, I think that's the only time we would, we hear. But how are you? I mean, you can bring in family or not with this, but how are you? How do you manage self-care or, time with your family? And
absolutely. Well, one thing I'm blessed is that my wife is also musical. So, she sings, like she can sing. And she is often able to be a part of what I'm doing creatively, right?
Awesome.
And that we can share that time. And then we've also gotten into video production a little bit, doing the video thing. And so she loves that, and she can be a part of that, And then when it comes time to, parent time, I dial that in. Like I make sure that I spend time every week, looking after my parents or spending time with them. Sundays, I can usually a family day to gather. It's important to stay connected to that. Tomorrow is not promised. And we lost a lot of people, during this pandemic. So I pull close to that and make sure that, I spend time with my family.
He's a balanced cat.
I was going to say, what's your sign? Wil, when's your birthday?
Try to be March 30th. March 30th, Aries.
Oh, you're an Aries. Okay, you just had a birthday. Aries are fire starters. They get stuff done. They start and then they kind of flame on. Like, where'd it go? But that's no, that's good. That's really good. And I think partnering with someone who can be a part of your business. I mean, I'm not telling. We won't make a dating show, but I mean, I think that people, if your partner or people in your life have these gifts, this is a really good time to get them involved. If your children, and get them involved in some of that, so that one, they can see and appreciate what it is you do, and then two, like you said, there's some time in there. So
one other question: what are some philosophical people, writers, podcasters, YouTubers?
Oh my gosh!
What are you vibing on? Philosophically, like who are you checking out right now?
You know what I'm saying? I've gone to sleep on that a little bit, but
or music is music your philosophy? Or lyrics, song lyrics your philosophy?
I do get a lot from that, man. I really do. Like other artists and their perspective on things. There's a few artists that really reach me there. You know what I mean? Gotcha. Like philosophically with the lyrics and that kind of thing. That is probably my philosophical outlet right now. You know what I mean? Yeah, but I go deep with the philosophers. Like when I was in school, just to put a little side note on it, I was deep off into that. Like I love me some Nietzsche and some old school philosophers. Like I can get off into that. So, but lately, no, it's been about music. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Well, we definitely. Oh no. Yeah, we get William Smith and I get into a lot of our deep philosophical woo spaces and all of that. So yeah.
Who are you guys checking out right now? Like, is there?
Well, for me, I've been checking out a lot. I started on Wayne Dyer. I'm probably
Wayne Dyer.
My first like reawakening kick started on Wayne Dyer, and then it I went to Paramahansa Yogananda. I went to all these different things. I went to Abraham Hicks a lot route, but now some of the most recent thing for me is Neville Goddard and Joe Dispenza. They sort of
Joe Dispenza.
Joe Dispenza is like totally on point because he's scientific.
I was going to say he's attempting to really bridge this gap.
Yes,
between
the spiritual
what people may think. Yes, the science and the spirituality, and is definitely getting a lot of leverage in it. Yeah, I'm that weird. I mean, all those people I've definitely been in their spaces and checked out, but I'm way more. I guess I'm grassroots. There are certain podcasts, certain people who are in mental health and in spiritual health, and that nobody probably has ever heard of. Right, but I listen to their podcast and just get a wealth of just understanding and perspective. So yeah, I'm more into finding who are the people on the front lines who are really helping people, who are the life
interacting
coaches.
with people.
Who are the and who are the creatives who are, maybe more than their music, who are, doing, who really are using their gifts for healing, beyond just maybe, which is really inspiring for me because that's more the direction I'm going into is
practical application.
How do we start getting more people who haven't been able to access themselves on a deeper level? How do we help them without making it scary or making it seem too abstract? How do we, and I think that's what's nice about Joe Dispenza is that he's attempting to kind of really help people understand that this isn't far from you. This is actually right. Your process of healing and understanding life and all of that is
I think they all bring different things to the table. And I'll just say this real quick, the Neville Goddard piece, growing up in the church, what he does is completely reprograms, takes dogma by the neck and throws it out of yourself. And you no longer have the dogmatic, oppressive concept of what the church represents.
Right.
You now understand it from the real idea of what it's supposed to mean. And it just completely washed that out of me. And I'm like, I can talk to anybody from the church now because I know what the deeper meaning is, and it just completely clears it out for me. So I don't have any stress anymore about all that stuff. So that was very helpful.
I like that.
Yeah. For folks who really need that, check that out.
I was going to say, we're going to have to do another session on the church.
Check that out.
Where are we, Black people?
That's a different.
That is. Don't get me started.
We spent a lot of time on that.
I know we're not going to do that. I have one last question, and then we're going to let you share how people can follow you and be on the lookout for the new project, all of that good stuff. You're in LA, and so a lot of my friends, contacts, associates in LA have been kind of doing this to LA. Like they're trying to move, they're trying to get out.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that as a musician, as an artist? Do you feel that like pressure
not so much pressure. I definitely feel the mood, and it's shifted. I've been here a while, and it shifted. It went, at first when I got here, it was a little different vibe, but now the vibe feels kind of oppressive. A lot of the venues are doing the pay to play thing, which I absolutely oppose. Like that is not my flow at all. And then there's a lot of laws in California that are just really restrictive all of a sudden, like a lot of just basic everyday things that are kind of restrictive. The housing price is through the roof.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane. So it's not really conducive to, it's not like it was before where, first of all, you needed to be here. You needed to be, because now we've got a global community. We can perform anywhere. It's just kind of lost. I think it's lost it's outgrown its use as far as like having to be this hub. And so people go, wait a minute now, my rent is what? My, and I can do this anywhere. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that definitely, I matter of fact, during the pandemic, lots of my musician friends left. Lots of my contacts, a lot of them moved and continue. Yeah. So I was just curious about that. And I think with the change, so, because a lot of times artists feel like I got to get to LA, or, now the newest thing is I got to get to Atlanta, or I got to get, and it's like, y'all, the world has changed so much. And what you guys just described in terms of the technology that you literally can just have in your room, and abilities, and when it comes to venues, if there's going to be more live streaming type of things and more creativity of how you can perform, I just encourage people, who are listening, who are musicians, thinking, and no poo-poo on LA. I think LA is still a special place in a lot of ways. But I was curious from a musician's perspective, living in LA. Yeah. Nice.
That's awesome.
Well, awesome.
Yeah, this went by fast.
It always goes by so fast. If you could just share with our audience, we'll also include this in the show notes, but how can they follow you on social media? Yes,
definitely check me out. Easiest way is probably just go to my website, and all my socials are there. So it's www.wil, that's 1L, WIL-KEY.com. And the brand new album is called Globetrotter Side B. And it's coming out on May 28th. And we recorded that all over the world. So every song on the album was recorded in a different, country. So I'm really excited. Yeah, sure.
I love that. I love that. So you have some stuff from Brazil when you were in Brazil.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, let's pray for Brazil, because they're going through a lot right now, and they're such an amazing space for music, especially when you're talking about jazz and soul and the African diaspora. It's influence in that. So, all righty.
That's another great episode.
This has been great. And thank you again for being here.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. Always. Absolutely. Best of luck with your project. I can't wait to listen. And keep us posted with any changes. And we do invite guests back, so don't be surprised if in some time you get an invitation.
Love
back.
it.
We'll put a track on the album on the playlist when it's done.
Oh, yes. When the album comes out, we have a playlist for our podcast on Spotify. Awesome. So, yes, it will be added. So.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. All right, Dr. Smith.
That's it. We'll see everybody next week.
All right. Take care. All right. Bye.
Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed this podcast episode. Please subscribe to our podcast on your podcast player and leave us a rating and review. Also, please leave us a comment on our Facebook or Instagram page. And if you would like to contact us about a specific topic, you can email us at 3mbpodcast@gmail.com.